it's been such a long time, and I don't know what to say. You girls been busy. I've been busy, y'all. But I'm working on a couple different things. I'm definitely coming with a new look. In the next couple weeks. I'm trying to switch it up a little bit. Hopefully, you guys are gonna like the new look. But anyway, today, baby, I want to tell you the story of my experience with xenophobia in South Africa. Before we get into that, you know what to do. Go ahead and hit the like and subscribe button, and yeah, you'll be coming back for more. I promise. But anyway, let's go ahead and talk about my experience with xenophobia in South Africa. I know a lot of you guys know that that's been a huge problem in South Africa. There have been instances of violence and looting and burning of people's shops and people's businesses and stuff. So I unfortunately have been on the receiving end of that. So the year was many moons ago. This was kind of my first time in kind of getting out of my country, and kind of my first trip abroad. And I had just finished high school. So I was like maybe I was probably 18 or 17 years old. And so I just finished high school, and it was kind of like a graduation gift from my family. And they were like, you know what, you gotta go to South Africa. I was so excited, y'all. Like, I was so excited. Oh my god, I was so excited. So we happened to go with the trip was organized to go with a few of my cousins and a few family friends and a few different people that I didn't actually know. So it was kind of a large group. So I would say we were maybe around 7 of us, maybe 6 or 7. So I think we left like on a Friday or something like that, and or maybe midweek, Wednesday or Tuesday. Really nice flight. We went with I think Kenya Airways it was. And it was a really super exciting, like, oh my god, first time abroad. I've heard so many good things about South Africa. Oh my god, I'm gonna have so much fun. So we get to South Africa, and oh my god, it's like so developed. I mean, it looked really like, literally, I think Joburg looks a lot like actually looks a lot better than a lot of American cities that I've been to. So Joburg has kind of like an Atlanta feel to me, like it's very Atlanta. So that's what I would compare Joburg to, very kind of Atlanta. So yeah, we get to the airport, and we cleared the customs, and we get to the hotel. And this was in Joburg, so it was Nairobi to Joburg. So we get to Joburg, and we get to the hotel, and the hotel happened to be in like a, I would say, like, it wasn't a bad area of town. It wasn't in Ramfontein. I forget where it was, but it was somewhere in downtown Joburg, somewhere in the city. It's been so long ago. It's kind of hard to remember, but it was in the city, and it was kind of a predominantly black area of the city. And what I've come to realize is that how do I say this? Like, there's a lot of white flight that happened back in the 90s and the early 2000s when South Africa kind of gained independence or from apartheid. So a lot of the white people, these were areas that were predominantly inhabited by white people, and the white people kind of moved out to the suburbs, to Sandton, to different areas. And so when they moved away, the black people moved in, and so the area of town that the hotel was in was kind of in a black side of town. So first night in Joburg, we actually arrived, I'd say maybe in the late afternoon, and then went to the hotel, freshened up and stuff, and then I decided, me and one of the girls that we had gone to, decided to go out into the city and walk around at night. It was smack in the middle of the city, so and then it's super busy. So you can imagine, like around 8 o'clock, all the stores are open. We're kind of just walking around the city, just enjoying, taking in the sights and the sounds. So just super duper excited. So we were kind of window shopping, walking around, going from shop to shop, entering and kind of, looking at different clothes and stuff like that. So me and this girl, so I noticed one thing, like when I was going into some of those stores, like the people in the store would actually, they would say something in their language. I don't know if it's Zulu or Xhosa. They would address you in their language. And when we didn't really respond, we couldn't respond because we didn't understand what language it was. They had kind of an instant reaction of like almost like an attitude, like like every store we went into, like they would just say something in their language, and then when you don't respond, they just kind of give you an attitude. I thought it was super weird, but I was like, okay, like, all right. I mean, I don't understand Zulu or Xhosa, whatever the language was. I'm sorry, because I just don't speak that language. First night in South Africa here, okay? Give me a break. But anyway, at the time, I had heard about kind of some xenophobic things about kind of Black South Africans in general, like things that were not very friendly. And so the xenophobia apparently is directed towards other like black people, like other black people that happen to not be South African. So it's not directed to like Indians or Chinese or white people who are, all these groups of people. There's quite a few of them, quite a lot of them there, but they don't really get the brunt of the xenophobia. It's usually black on black. So I'd heard that there was some kind of xenophobia, but I didn't realize the extent of it. So for me, getting kind of the attitude when I was kind of walking in and out of the stores was like, whatever, like, okay, whatever. But it just was weird because it was happening in every single store. They would say something to you, and then when you don't respond in their language, they just kind of cop an attitude. So we're walking, up and down the street, and we happened to be coming. Now we were walking up the street, and then we crossed the street, and then we started coming down the street on the opposite side of the street. So halfway down, all of a sudden, a guy in like uniform jumps in front of me and like grabs my hand, right? And at the time I didn't realize that he was actually a police officer because their uniforms were like the color of their uniforms was like gray, like, and to me, like in Kenya, like someone in like gray uniform, it's usually like just like a security guard. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, okay, why is this security guard grabbing my hand? You know, is he trying to holler? Like, what's going on? Like, come slowly, come slowly. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't be so aggressive, y'all. So I was like, you know, trying to jerk my hand away, and he's like, he held my hand super strong, and he's like, oh, show me your papers, show me your papers. I'm like, what? Papers? He was like, show me your papers. I'm like, okay, who are you, and why do I need to show you anything? You know, it's like your passport, your papers, right? Just out of the blue. And literally, we're in a street full of people, like walking up and down, but they just happen to be like approaching me and that particular girl, right? So at first I was like copying an attitude. I was like, what? I mean, my papers. I'm like, okay, I have my passport, but my passport was at the hotel. I hadn't thought like I would need to carry my passport everywhere I went. So I was like, okay, I can show you my passport, but we would have to go to the hotel. And so he was like, okay, you have to come with us, right? You have to come with us into the car. They had almost like a van, like a police van. I was like, hell no, I'm not just going to go into some van just because you're telling me to go into the van. First of all, you haven't shown me your badge. Like, I don't know, like, is there, like, what's the protocol here? Like, if you're going to arrest me or something, isn't there supposed to be some kind of protocol? Remember, I'm just like a teenager. This is like my very first time ever dealing with the police in any kind of way. And I'm dealing with police in a foreign country on my first night there, right? So I'm like super naive. I'm like, okay, so I felt like you should be reading me my rights here. Am I being arrested? You know what I'm saying? Like everything like I had seen about like getting arrested was like from movies. And I'm like, shouldn't I be getting some kind of, I don't know, like I just felt like I can't just go into some you know, a police van or some van. First of all, I don't even know if he's legit. He's wearing like, you know, security guard uniform as far as I'm concerned. But anyway, so I'm like, no, I was like, no, flat out no. Actually, I was like, you know what, we're actually not too far away from the hotel. Why don't we walk to the hotel and then I can show you my passport? So he was like, no, you have to come with us. You have to come with us. I was like, flat out, I am not coming. And then I get a tap on my shoulder. So at this point, I'm focusing on this one guy that's standing in front of me holding my hand. But I hadn't noticed that as we were going back and forth, I was surrounded by like I'd say like at least like 7 or 8 of them. Right? So I get a tap on my shoulder, and the girl that I was with, she'd already gone into the police. Like as soon as they said, okay, you have to come with us, she was like, okay, jumped in the back of the police car. I'm like, what the hell? So she had already gone in there, but I hadn't even noticed that she had left. She had gone into, you know, the police car. And so she tapped me on the back of the shoulder and she said, I've been told to tell you that if you don't get into the van, there's going to be trouble. Girl, I was like, I am not trying to see myself getting like manhandled in the back of the police van. I'm like, okay. I was like, okay, all right, let's go. So they didn't even cuff us or anything. They just kind of told us to sit in the back, right? So you can imagine it's like a huge, it's like a 16-seater almost, but it's a van, right? It's a police van. And they all get into the van, and so we're sitting in the back and they're all kind of sitting in the front, like a couple seats in front of us. And then they take off, right? And remember, this is like, at this point, it's like 9 or 10 p.m. at night, right? First night in Joburg, right? Teenagers, you know, with a bunch of guys, a bunch of police officers, in Joburg, right? In the car, right? In the van. So they take off, And one of them, they were so pissed off. I don't know why they were so pissed off, but one of them was like really, really, really upset and like, oh, these people, they come to this country, I don't know what. Are you from Nigeria? Are you from Zimbabwe? Are you from where? You know what I'm saying? Like, he was so pissed off just by the mere fact that we were foreigners, and we were kind of like not immediately jumping to follow all their commands and stuff. He was like, you're going to leave from your country, from jail, you're going to jail, I don't know what. Like, he just kept going on and on and on. How did you get to this country? Like, literally just going in on us, right? At this point, I'm like shell shocked. I'm like, oh my God, this is serious, y'all. This is getting super serious. And so, and remember, these are two teenage girls here and these are grown ass men, like going like really hard at us. So apparently what had happened, I came to learn later, was that someone in one of those shops that we had been kind of going in and out of called the cops on us. But they didn't call the cops on us because there was like anything wrong we did. They called the cops on us because obviously when they were speaking to us and we didn't respond in their language, they were like, these might be illegal aliens. Let's call the police on them. You know what I'm saying? So that's the only reason, that's the only thing that can explain, like, two of us, just me and that girl, we're walking in a street full of people and all of a sudden police officers start asking us for our papers. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, okay, all right, okay. So anyway, so we're like, so at this point now they're driving somewhere. I guess they're taking us to the police station or whatever. And they were like, oh, where are you coming from? You know, like, how did you get into this country? Like, all this crap. And they were all black, by the way. Each and every one of them was black, right? And they were like, and then at some point, this chick that I was with, she was so, because I've always been kind of like a headstrong person, like super stubborn and like, you know, like, I don't know, like, I'm not the kind of person that's just gonna like bow down to authority, like, just because you're wearing a uniform or whatever. If I feel like I haven't done anything wrong, like, I'm going to, you know, I'm gonna give as much as I take, right? So I was like, you know, can we call the embassy from the from the police station? I was like, you know, I'm like I wasn't, I can't say that I was scared. I was just, the only thing, I can't say that I was scared of going into jail. I was more scared of whether or not they had like bad intentions. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know if they're gonna like try to rape us, so I don't know. You know what I'm saying? This is a van full of dudes. You know what I'm saying? So I was like more scared of that. But the chick I was with was like in tears, like she was like just crying, like, you know, because they were like being really, really mean, right? So they're driving us around at night. I guess they're taking us to the police station, and so they're asking us all these questions, and I'm like, yeah, we're tourists, like, we just came in tonight, like, and we didn't know that we had to carry our passports everywhere we went. You know what I'm saying? And so I feel like at some point they started to believe us, and also I feel like at some point they kind of started feeling sorry for this chick because she was like really emotional. I was like, you know what, like, I was like, I don't know, I just felt like I was indignant. That's the word. I was indignant, like, you know, why are you doing this to us? We're just coming here, like, we're literally spending our money, or like our parents' money. You know, it's not like we're coming to do anything wrong. We'll be leaving in 5 days. Like, you know what I'm saying? It was like quite the reception. So at some point they started to believe us, right? And I guess they started like kind of, I don't know, they started doubting themselves. I don't know what they did, but they started kind of doubting themselves, and they were like, okay. So they stopped so we're driving around, I don't know where we're going, right? And then they stop like in the middle of some dark, they park the car, right, the van, in the middle of like the darkest fucking alley I've ever seen in my whole entire life, right? Like literally, you can't, it's like pitch black outside, right? Can't see anyone in the streets, nothing. Like you can't even see, like if you peek outside, you can see nothing, right? Super, super dark. And everywhere else, like, I don't know, they took like the darkest route. I don't know what they were planning or doing, but they just happened, they stopped in the and parked the car like in a super dark street, right? And then they did the weirdest thing. They all left. Like they turned the light on in the car, in the, like the van, you know, that like the headlight, what do you call the light, like on the ceiling of the van, they turned that on. So like the van, the inside of the van was super well lit. And then they opened like the door. It was like one of those doors, like, I don't know, like the two doors, like kind of like coming together. They opened the doors and then they all jumped out, right? And they said, wait here. But then they left the door open, right? Like visibly open, like open where we can see that the door's open. And then they left, right? So I'm like, okay. We sit in the dark. And literally when they left, we couldn't even see where they went. It was that dark outside, right? So I feel like they were trying to see if we were going to try to run away or something, or like, so they kind of really like arrest us, because I think at some point they realized that they really don't have anything on us. Or I don't know what maybe they just, I don't know what they were thinking, but so they all left and they were like, just one of them was like, stay here, okay? So they leave and they leave there, and we like literally stay like 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 30 minutes, like in the van. They're not coming back. No one's coming back. They're just like, they've left us. I don't know if they were expecting us to just kind of just think to just leave on our own, or like they were like waiting to set up like a trap or something. I don't know. But we waited there for like, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 30 minutes. And then one of them comes back, puts his head in through the door, and he's like, okay, you guys can leave now. And then we realized they had left their one of their walkie-talkies or whatever in like one of the seats. So I guess I feel like they were listening to our conversation. I don't know, can you do that like with a walkie-talkie or whatever? Can you do that? Because I guess they were trying to figure out if we were telling the truth or something. I don't know what they were doing, but they had left their walkie-talkie, one of them. And I think maybe they were listening to what we were saying while they were away, right? So he picks his head in and he was like, oh, you guys can leave. And remember, this is the middle of some dark freaking alley. We don't know where we are. It's two teenage girls in the, like, literally dark freaking, like, I don't even know how to explain this. But anyway, so we get out of the van and we just take off running. Take off running. Run. Next street, there's street lights and stuff, and there's people, and there's like there's cars passing by, and we're like, whew. But then we still don't know where we are, right? So we kind of walk around, ask around, and we get back to the hotel room. To the hotel, somehow we get back to the hotel. So that was day one, right? That's not even just the only thing. Like that's just the tip of the iceberg, y'all. I'm coming back with part 2 in the next video. Day 2, actually. I was only in South Africa for 5 freaking days, and I can promise you, by day 5, I was like so happy to leave. I was so happy to leave, y'all. But anyway, yeah, I'll continue with my experience with xenophobia in South Africa in the next video. Check you out later. Peace out.